Happy Halloween! I guess that makes this the start of the holiday edition vlog. So things have been going pretty well, actually almost a little too well. And this is like a weird thing I honestly never even considered, and maybe it's just like the position that I'm in, being someone that doesn't want to continue on in academia. So I'm looking to graduate this spring quarter, and that means the deadline for submission of my final thesis, like after corrections for my committee and everything, is April 29th. That is less than 6 months from now. So I'm still working on the project that is going to be the last chapter of my thesis. And I need to finish that project in time to include it in my thesis. But I'm not going to be doing research after I defend and finish and graduate in April. And so I need this project to finish at like the exact right time. So normally I don't think this is an issue, because if you're going on to a postdoc, you're going to continue research. So like even if I finished my thesis project, I would just start working on something else that I would be kind of planning to continue in my postdoc work. But I'm not planning to do that. And so I feel like I'm like juggling this weird timing act where I'm like perfectly trying to make sure that I have about 5 months of work left, and no more and no less. Which is, I don't know, probably silly, because I'm probably vastly, even though I've written several papers, it still always takes me longer to write a paper than I think it is going to. So like I really should not be slow rolling the actual work or like the getting of the data, which I sometimes feel a little bit like I'm doing right now, because I'm like, oh shit, I thought this was going to take longer and now I have results. It's just weird. Yo, how is it already like halfway through November? This time is just flying by. So I actually was just traveling the last couple weeks. So 2 weeks ago, I went to Ann Arbor, Michigan, and it was my first in-person conference since, I don't know, 2019. And it was just like a Lake Michigan area exoplanets meeting at Michigan. And it was so good to be in person, and it's just so much easier, I feel like, to pay attention and to talk and to meet people and to talk with people. It was cool. I got to present my most recent paper, which was just accepted for publication back in the end of September. And so that was cool. I got to talk about that, and people seemed interested, which is always fun. And then last week I was actually in Columbus just visiting a friend who is also an astrophysicist. And so that was really cool. It's been a while since I've done much traveling, and now I'm pretty exhausted, but I'm home for a good while now until I travel for Christmas to see my family next month. But while I was in Columbus, I was still working. I was just working remotely, and I got the latest results for my project, and they look pretty good. I mean, I don't know how to define what looks good, but they're real. I have results, which is really exciting. So now I'm actually working on writing up kind of everything I've done so far. I'm not totally done yet, but I think it's like good to write as you go, because otherwise you get to the end and you're like, fuck, I have to write like all the stuff that I did months ago and I don't really remember it. And it really helps identify, I think, like kind of the holes in your work and where you really need to go to like finish things up, to wrap a bow on it. And I really want to finish this project up in the next like 2 months or so, which, yeah, like I said, time is just really flying. Hi y'all, so it is the day after Thanksgiving, which means of course that it's officially Christmas time. So I actually just put up all my Christmas decorations, which was really exciting. And oh my gosh, so this has nothing to do with my PhD, but story time. So I don't know how your Thanksgiving was. I hope it was good. I hope you did not wake up at 2 a.m. to go to the bathroom and then smell gas in the hallway. So it was like really strong, and I was like, no, I'm just being paranoid. So I went back to bed and I woke up my boyfriend, and I didn't tell him. I was just like, can you go out to the hallway and tell me if you smell anything? Which, okay, kind of suspicious. But he went out and he came back like a minute later and he was like, it smells like gas out there. And I was like, oh, I know, right? So I was like trying to figure out what to do. Cause like, I mean, the thing for a gas leak, right, is like, oh, call 911. But it didn't really seem like it was like gonna explode or something. I checked the stove and none of the like burners were on or anything. So we opened all the windows. I tried to call the emergency number for my HOA because I own my condo and the HOA pays the gas. So I don't even know who our gas utility person is to call. So I called like the 24-hour emergency line for our management association, and it was just some answering service and they had no idea what to do. They basically told me to call 911. And I was like, oh my God. So I was like kind of freaking out. I've never had to like call 911 before for like an emergency. So finally I was like, okay, I guess we just got to do it. We just have to accept. My boyfriend was like, look, there's clearly gas. Like we can both smell it. we just need to deal with it. So we threw the bunnies into their pet carrier and we threw our coats on and we went down to the lobby because, we didn't want to be in our apartment. But first we opened all the windows. So we went down, called 911. It was a weird experience. Some police officers showed up and they went upstairs to our apartment with my boyfriend, and I waited downstairs for the firefighters to come because the dispatcher had said they were sending firefighters. That's what they usually do for a gas leak. And it turned out the police officers were just there probably because they were bored and they heard the call and it was 2:30 a.m. on a Thanksgiving night. So the firefighters come, they're all decked out in their gear. There's 2 fucking fire trucks that pull up to my condo building with lights on. It's crazy. I go upstairs with them and they walk in and 5 seconds to there's no gas. And I was I swear to God there was gas. I think, and it didn't really smell like anymore. So I think just having the windows open, there was gas. There clearly was, but I think it got cleared out. Still don't know where it came from, which is a little alarming, but I used the stove today and it didn't explode. So hopefully everything's okay. Anyway, it was a interesting story, I guess. It took me a long time to fall asleep back after that. But yeah, so this morning I went to Stan's and tried because they came out with their holiday flavors today. So I got some holiday flavored donuts because it's officially the start of Thanksgiving season. So it's pretty exciting. Oh my God, they had this one donut. It's called the Listan. So it's like a cronut, right? If it's a croissant donut. And their normal Listans are pretty good, but they're filled with this kind of custard. But this one was filled with an eggnog custard. And oh my God, you guys, it was so fucking good. If you're in the area, I recommend trying the eggnog Listans at Stan's. If you're not in the area, I'm sorry. So I'm obviously not working today, taking the day off, but things have been going pretty well. I actually just got results, which is really exciting. And I know I said I had results before, and these are the same results, but they're better now. Ooh. But on the slightly less good side, so these results that I've gotten is basically there's 10 parameters that I'm interested in, and I want to vary them. So the results that I've been doing is just taking what's called a fiducial case. So taking a system with a given set of parameters and then varying one parameter at a time, which is great because it's a lot faster. However, what I'm really interested in is how all of these parameters interact with one another, which means I need to do multidimensional simulations covering all of the different variations and possible combinations of these parameters, which means all of a sudden you're in a 10-dimensional parameter space. So basically, say you wanted to do 10 variations of each parameter, you're talking 10 to the 10 different simulations, which is it's going to be very cost prohibitive. So I'm trying to figure out what I can do. And I thought I had come up with a parameter space that was going to work in a reasonable amount of computing time, about 500,000 hours on the cluster. But I had kind of just done some back of the envelope calculations for that. So earlier this week, I thought I should do some better calculations before I actually get started on this, because it's a significant amount of computing resources. And now I'm thinking it actually looks more like 30 million hours, which is just way too much. I don't have more than 1 million tops, but even that's a lot. So probably 500,000. So I need to figure out how to cut down the parameter space even further so that I can actually get some results before, I die. Anyway, so yeah, that's what's going on. But I'm feeling pretty good. It's crazy to me that it's almost December and it's the holiday season. Obviously, I'm still going to be working in December, but I'm going to be taking time off for the holidays and everything. So we're fast approaching the end of the year. And my goal had been to kind of be done with the work part of this project by the end of the year so that I could, in the new year, focus on writing up both this project to be published as a paper and my thesis, which is basically just going to be a combination of different chapters, which, as I mentioned, thesis word count, it's still at 0. That will change soon, I promise. But, yeah, this is kind of sneaking up on me, which I knew it would. I knew it fucking would, but here we are. Anyway, I'm still feeling confident that I'm going to have something, and I have some results already. So the fiducial case that I did, it's not interesting. There are some really cool results in here that I'm really excited about. So I'm kind of trying to write those up at the same time that I'm trying to get started on this new one, because once I submit this, it's going to take, like I said, 500,000 hours on the cluster. I'm going to be running multiple cores, so it won't take 500,000 hours total, but it is going to take a significant amount of time. So I need to get those started ASAP. So that's my goal for next week, is to figure out exactly what parameter space I can cover in that amount of time and start submitting those jobs. Okay, well, I think this is going to do it for this particular vlog. We'll call this the holiday edition vlog. And thank you so much for I don't know, hanging out with me. Sorry, I just got out of the shower. But this has been fun, and I will see you in the new year. Happy 2022, and I hope you have a wonderful holiday season. Bye.